Hi friends, it's Julie and I want to welcome you to the very first ever virtual, digital, interactive Chagigah for Passover. I'm so glad you could join me. I hope some of you are friends who've come to many of our Chagigahs before, and I hope some of you are brand new and didn't even know that for every Jewish holiday, the CJE does a very cool celebration in J-Town, and hopefully you'll enjoy this one, and then you'll join us for the next one, which I'm really hoping will be in person. So here's what we're going to do today for our Chagigah. First, I made some pictures and I'm going to use them to tell you the story of Passover. So I'm going to share those with you. And because it's a Chagigah, we're also going to do a project. So I'm going to tell you right now so that you can be ready. We're going to make afikomen holders for our Seder. So those are going to be the envelopes that we're going to use to put our middle matzah in. And of course, just like everything else, they have to be beautiful. So I'm going to use 2 paper plates and I connected them with staples. You can also use construction paper if you want. You can just fold it up like that. You can use tape. You can use staplers. Basically, you just need an opening like a folder. And then, of course, when we get together to do the real project at the end, you need some art supplies. Markers work, cut paper works. If you have old junk mail, you can make a collage. You can use anything you want. We just want to make it fun and make it pretty. So let me share my story with you. I'm so excited that you're here, and we will have a happy Passover together. A long, long time ago, in a country far away, in a place called Egypt, there was a ruler named Pharaoh, and Pharaoh was not very nice at all. He was very angry and very greedy, and he did not like the Israelite people who lived in his land, so he decided to make them slaves. So the Israelite people became slaves to Pharaoh, and they had to work hard all day long in the hot, hot sun. They baked bricks, and they worked hard, and they never got to play, and they didn't have any toys, and it was a very unhappy way to live, and they were not happy. Then mean Pharaoh decided to do something even worse. He said all the brand new baby boys that were born to the Israelites had to go away. Well, one baby boy was born, and his name was Moses, and his mother tried to protect him for as long as she could. And when she couldn't protect him anymore, she put him in a basket, and she sent him down the Nile River to get him as far away from Pharaoh as possible. Well, guess who found him? Pharaoh's daughter found him, and she rescued him from the Nile, and she became his mother. She adopted him, and she took care of him. And so while the Israelites continued to be slaves in Egypt, Moses grew up in the palace. Well, one day, Moses decided he had had enough. He didn't like what he saw. He didn't like that all the Israelites were slaves, but he didn't know what to do. So he ran away. And Moses, you can see he's all grown up now with his beard, he became a shepherd in the desert. He took care of sheep, and he lived a very simple life until one day he saw something miraculous. He saw a bush in the middle of the desert, and it was all in flames, but it wasn't burning up at all. And when he got closer, the bush called out to him, and it was God's voice, and God said, Moses, Moses, come closer. You have to go back to Pharaoh, and you have to tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Well, Moses was scared, and Moses didn't know how to do that, and Moses didn't think that Pharaoh would listen. But God said he had to do it. So Moses went back to mean old Pharaoh, and Moses said, Pharaoh, you have to let my people go. God is going to send plagues to you if you don't. And there were plagues. There were 10 of them. You know some of them. There was darkness. There were locusts. There were frogs. Some people say there was one huge giant frog, which would be pretty creepy, or many, many frogs. You guys know the song? Can you sing it with me? One morning when Pharaoh woke in his bed, there were frogs on his toes and frogs on his nose. Frogs here, frogs there, frogs were jumping everywhere. Well, there were frogs, and there was blood, and there was darkness, and there were 10 terrible plagues. And finally, Pharaoh said, fine, you can go, but you have to go right now. You don't have time to bake your bread. Get out right now. So the Israelite people packed their stuff. They baked bread, but it didn't even have time to rise. And so that's why we eat matzah. And they ran away. And eventually they got to the Sea of Reeds. And they said, what are we going to do? There's water. We can't cross it. And Moses lifted up his staff, and with God's help, the sea separated, and the people crossed over. And when they got to the other side, Miriam and the ladies with their timbrels got out their instruments and danced and celebrated because they were free. And that is the story of Passover, and that is why we celebrate Passover today. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope you liked it. I really enjoyed making it for you. Right now, what I'm going to do is we're at our craft time for our Chagigah. So like I mentioned earlier, I am making an afikomen holder out of 2 paper plates that I've stapled together. I've stapled just the bottom part and left the top open. If you have paper plates, amazing. If not, you can do this with paper also. You just need to fold it and staple or tape or glue or whatever you can the sides. If you want to get really fancy, you can actually do this with fabric. Depends on what you have at home. So I had these paper plates and I have some crayons, and I am just gonna color my plate. I really would love to see what you guys color also. So while we're talking for a minute, I think I'm gonna make a happy face afikomen holder. I'm going to do some coloring. I wonder what you're doing. If you have something you want to share with me, I would love to see it. Just take a picture of it, put it in the comments, and make sure you tag PJ Library Baltimore if you're putting it on your own page. I just made a really cute face real fast. You can make flowers. You can make anything you want. But we're going to use this in my house. Oh, I think I'm going to make it really clear what it is. I think I'm going to write out afikomen so we don't forget what we're using it for. So this year, when we're having our Seder, just me and my husband and our 2 kids, we're going to be missing our family, but we are doing a little bit of a makeshift Seder, and we're going to have our very own afikomen holder. I hope you guys have a lovely Pesach. I know it's going to be different. I know it's going to be strange, but hopefully it will be just a memory, a different kind of Seder this year for a different kind of Passover. I hope I see you guys again soon. I hope I see you in person soon. Let me know what you thought of our story. Let me know what kind of Passover projects you're making, and share pictures with me. Tag at PJ Library Baltimore. Would love to see what you're up to. Thanks so much, guys. Chag Sameach. Happy Passover. I will see you soon. Bye.